creativity doesn't come from a written thing, it comes from somewhere else, and then it becomes manifest, and you write it down later.
When you're trying to be creative, you have to get out of your own way and just let it come. And sometimes it's unexpected what comes out when you do that. Because like that happens to you when you write like guitar solos, right?
Yeah. It's exactly the same thing, noodling around, and then something happens, and what you develop the capacity to recognize when you do something that you like, to try to be conscious and be on top of it, and then, okay, what was that? Do it again, and now it becomes part of your musical vocabulary that you can return to consciously instead of unconsciously.
You have a way that you think you sound, and you do sound like that, but you might have a different shading here, this direction or that direction, that's still authentic to you, but you can allow yourself to go explore that other vocal look, as it were.
Personas, different sounds.
Right. And so I sort of started experimenting with that, like to allow the song content to dictate a little bit more of how the vocal sounds, as opposed to, I sound like this, I'm singing this song.
Right, regardless of the content and the style of the song.
So like we recorded a song by a really talented songwriter friend of ours named Dave Takagi called If Morning Ever Comes. And I thought it sounded like a 16-year-old kind of girl would sing it. So I kind of just had that in my head when I was singing it. And it kind of doesn't sound that much like me, you know?
Right, but you allowed yourself that freedom.
Right. And in the studio, like Andy and Marty, who produces us, they'll sort of encourage that, like, you know, be a little harder, or try that, or, you know, what if...
Puts an accent here.
Yeah, or something like that, you know.
She can go into a Texas accent really easily. And
from Texas.
You know, sometimes you want these different colors. Somebody once pointed out to me that Paul McCartney has 3 voices. He has the sweet voice, the long and winding road voice, and he has the rough voice of why don't we do it in the road, and then he has this third one, the Lady Madonna, whatever that is, you know, and he just enters into these things, and that you could do that was okay. But it's funny until you think about it, or until an accident happens, like in the studio, if we're on the other side of the glass and we hear Renee do one of these things, what was that? You know, let's do more of that. That's great.
Yeah.
You have to develop that trust, and I think some people already have it in such enormous quantity in themselves. And we were talking the other day about Bob Dylan going electric, and what that must have been like through the course of a whole tour to play the first set acoustic and have people go wild, put on the electric guitar and have a whole lot of them not like it every night, and to stand up there as Bob Dylan go, all of you are wrong, and then a year later to be proved that he was right. That the whole world was forced through that birth canal and came out different. Most people don't have that.
It takes a lot of confidence.
So we went through a different thing where we go and we share and we support, and eventually we arrive at something that where we're more comfortable coming forth with those things that maybe are somewhere deeper inside and you're afraid to bring them out. We've been working with Marty for a number of years now, and I think that safety net has gotten stronger, and we can do more in there now, and not feel judged, feel supported, and feel like there is no failure here. It's all just expression, and here's the one that sounds the best. Renee is my best friend, and I highly hold her opinion in great esteem. We don't always feel the same about things, but she is a person that I would listen to very, very closely about anything, musical or otherwise.
We went through a lot of turmoil, you know, around relationship, probably about 10 or 15 years ago, probably. But the thing that never was in question was that we were going to play music together. You know, to have that, his talent so accessible to me as a singer, it's just an incredible gift.
In our society, we're in a capitalist society, so you're required to do two things. You have to connect with the thing that makes you passionate, but you've also got to somehow sell it.
Right.
If you're going to do it as a living. That's a delicate path to travel.
Right.
And I think that I would say either be sure not to ignore that second thing that doesn't come so easily, the business marketing side of things, or partner with somebody who is as passionate about that as you are about your music.
We're a small business, you know, really small. You know, there's two of us, essentially. Is to ask for help. You know, especially when it's something like music that people really emotionally connect to and love. You know, people want to help. And there's so many talents that people have that they're willing to share with you. So with our our Bob Dylan Festival, you know, it used to be Andy and I did everything. And so now we've learned to ask for more help. And as it's gotten bigger, we've had to ask for help.
Music is like the secret portal in the wall of human experience through which feeling, and particularly repressed feeling or diffracted feeling or
hidden feelings,
is given authority or permission to become manifest. Deep feeling is inappropriate in most of our daily lives. It's inappropriate at work. It's inappropriate at most social interactions. You can't burst into tears or rage or high five around the desk, you know, when you're trying. And yet any child knows they don't have to be told to connect with their feelings. They start playing air guitar and they burst into dancing and they whine and they laugh. They, you know,
we're all
that gets
rock stars.
Yeah.
Playing live and recording are entirely different things. So, you know, when you have hours and hours of live performance under your belt, you know, you get pretty comfortable at that. And then when you go into record, now it's sort of like pressure's on, you know. You know, you hear everything really clearly, and it goes on tape, and you want it to be perfect, and you know, and you want your voice to sound great and every lick to be perfect, and so it can be really nerve-wracking, especially at first. So, you know, as you do it over and over again, you get better at it, ostensibly, and then you learn that you don't necessarily have to have it all be perfect. And if it's too perfect, it gets a little sterile. Like when you perform live, you've got that energy, you know, even like the physical, like waves are hitting. It's hitting the air, you know. You're interacting with the crowd. The energy is cycling back and forth like that. When you're in a recording studio, it just goes right into the microphone, onto the, you know, the tape, and you're like, it's hard to generate the energy.
Right.
So you have to kind of learn how to get that to happen better, you know, and you have to allow there to be some rough edges without it being sloppy or wrong notes or something. Right.
It's been difficult. We will not retire early on our savings. But if you can't retire early, it's a great job to not be able to retire from.
At least love.